Welcome to my clubhouse. My name is Sally Colón, and I'm so excited for today because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics. On my couch today, we have clinical psychologist and celebrity love coach, baby. Dr. Tari Mack is in the house. I'm so excited.
Me too.
First of all, I want to know, how did you and I connect?
On Clubhouse, I think,
okay.
a couple years ago.
All right. And then we started following each other on Instagram, and I started, I was liking all of your stuff.
Yeah.
Because just the stuff that you say, I get it all, and it's like, yes, yes, yes. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. So I'm going to get right into it. What is the right way to do the dating apps?
I'm glad you asked. Okay, so a couple things. One, if you have a negative attitude about the dating apps, you should not be on them.
Okay, so what, for example?
Like, oh, there's just so many losers on there. I can't find a date on there. You know, nobody's looking for a relationship. And maybe that's been your experience, which we need to correct. And there are things standing in your way. But I only want you going on the dating apps if you're excited to be on the dating apps. Because if you think about it, they really are a miracle that they exist. And they are a great way to meet people. But I only want you going on there to meet the top 1% in terms of emotional maturity, integrity, like those top 1% of people. That's who you have to be looking for.
Okay, the top 1%. Okay, so I guess I haven't been doing it right. So I got on the apps. My girlfriend Eden Sassoon convinced me to get on the apps, and I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And she's like, what are you, a narcissist? Which I was like, what? What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you think you're too good to be on the apps? And I go, I just don't want to do it. Anyway, she convinced me to do it because of, what has happened the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So I got on, and I liked it in the beginning. I met a really great guy pretty quickly. We dated for about 3 months, but he was just coming off of a divorce.
Okay, yes.
We'll talk about that. And so I've been on the apps, and I fluctuate. I go 6 months, I'll go on, and then I'll get off for like 2 months. I'm done. And then I'll get back, and then I'll get off. I'm done. And my friends always laugh at me. I'm like, I'm off forever. They're like, okay. 2 months later, I'm off right now. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, because I want to get your advice on that.
Yes.
But so the other thing is, what is a successful profile? Like, what are the things that we need to have on our profile that's really going to work for us?
So your profile needs to be very specific to what you're looking for, and it cannot be generic. I don't care if you like to jog and swim and have coffee.
No one cares.
Okay? No.
Right, okay.
So you want to, this is for people who are genuinely looking for that long-term, healthy, joyful relationship. So you want to use words, because I always talk about there are 12 qualifiers to be in a relationship.
Ooh, I want to know.
Yeah. I probably can't think of them all off the top of my head, but I know most of them. So you want to be using words like emotional maturity. I'm looking for someone who is a good communicator, emotionally mature, high integrity, because the people that are not on there who resonate with those words, some may swipe right, but they're going to be like, oh, what is she talking about? No.
So then you're filtering.
Yes.
Filtering. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Filtering is the number one tool you need to do on the dating app.
Got it.
If you're like, I'm not sure, swipe left.
Okay, let's stop right there real quick, because I know I'm not the only one. Because sometimes when I'm really lonely and I just think to myself, I just want to go on a date, But I heard you in another interview saying, don't do that.
No.
Why?
So many people use the dating apps. What they actually want is a long-term relationship, but they're using it for secondary gain, for a different purpose that maybe they're not even conscious of. One of those is they don't want to be alone. They're lonely. They're bored. They use the dating apps for entertainment. You're in your pajamas at night. You're like, I'll go on the app.
Right.
That is not being intentional, and you're not filtering. Your filters have to be so tight, and I only want you going on a date with someone if you've asked the right questions, and there's one question you always have to ask before you decide to meet someone.
What is that?
What are you looking for on this app?
Ooh.
But it doesn't stop there. Okay, so you ask that question, and then if you get an answer that's like, a relationship would be nice, but I'm open to seeing where it goes. No.
That's a red flag. Let's get the red flag out.
Yes. Because really what that means is they're casually dating. Or they want to, hook up. They're not intentional.
Okay.
So if you have somebody that says, I'm looking for a long-term relationship, great. But then you have to follow it up with, I'm at a point in my life where I'm ready to invest in a person when I meet the right person. Is that where you're at?
So that's what I would ask them.
Yes.
So is this happening on the first date or before the first date?
Before the first date.
Oh.
You have to ask this question and have this exchange before you decide to meet someone.
Question.
Yes. Yes.
Teacher.
Yeah.
So I get, when guys swipe on me, and then I'm on Hinge and Bumble.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm off of everything. But Bumble, we have to, respond first. So a lot of times I'll respond to a guy within like the first couple of messages. He's like, do you want to go out? Like right away, like tomorrow.
Yes.
I've had guys, and because sometimes I like to be adventurous, I'm like, okay. But it is a mistake because it's a waste of time.
It is. You have no idea, first of all, what this person's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us have certain deal breakers that are important to us. And you have to ask those questions too. And listen, so many people are like, I don't want to scare him off. Right? Like,
I feel that way sometimes.
But you're only going to scare off people that are not like looking for what you're looking for. And you're not going to like ask these questions one after another like a drill sergeant. You're going to like do it in a playful way while you're having some conversation. But you want to say, I know what I'm looking for. I don't want to waste anyone's time.
Yeah. I heard you say in another interview that a lot of times will, if, like for me, for instance, I'm Christian. Mm-hmm. My guy has to be Christian, right? Yes. I want to be able to go to church on Sundays with him. And one of the things that I've done, I will admit, right here on the couch with you, doctor, that I had it for a little while. It's like Christian only. Mm-hmm. And then there weren't a lot of choices. So I started going, okay, I'm going to open it up to spiritual, Catholic. Mm-hmm. But that's a mistake, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have less dates when you're intentional because you want quality over quantity. That's why so many people get burnt out on the dating apps because they're wasting their time.
That's it. I think that's why I've gotten burned out so much.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you before we move on from the dating apps. I've been off now for about a month, which is record for me in the last 2 years. Because usually it's like 2 weeks and then I'm back on.
Yeah.
But I really got frustrated because I met this guy. We went on, it was the guy I was telling you about before the show. Mm-hmm. And he, I think I even called Angie. I was like, oh my God, this guy's great. He's Christian. He's very good looking, all of this stuff. But there was like a few little red flags that were happening. But I was like, well, okay. And then our last date, there was like, he did a couple things that I was like, I'm done.
Can you say what they were, or you don't want to be that
specific? I could say what they were. So one of them was, you're going to laugh. We were sitting down at Baltere, which is one of my favorite places, and his phone went off, and it's dark at Baltere. And all of a sudden, I see a message from Bumble. And I looked over, and he went to go grab his glasses to see what it was. Meanwhile, I'm reading the thing saying, I'm sorry things didn't work out the other night. And I'm like, what?
And how many dates had you been on?
This was our 5th date.
Oh.
5th. Yeah. Not our first.
Yeah.
So he grabs his glasses, he goes like this, puts them on, he looks, and then he goes like this. Mm-hmm. And then he came back and he goes, that was one of my employees telling me he wasn't coming to work tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, he lied.
Is that a red flag?
Huge red flag. Yes.
And then he went to the bathroom, and on his way back, he was taking a while, and I looked back, he was talking to some blonde girl. I was done after that.
No.
I was done. So, am I right though, or what? Because Andy, our executive producer, thinks that, she's too picky or she's too, negative or whatever. But what do you think?
No, I mean, one of the disqualifiers is somebody who lies. He didn't have to say anything.
Right.
Like, okay, in the beginning, you probably are seeing other people.
Sure.
But he didn't have to lie.
Right.
And someone who can lie that easily. And there were a few other things that you told me about.
Yes.
And then like him stopping to talk to a blonde. Like, that's a pattern of behavior, right? Yep. And you always got to trust your gut.
Yeah. I did trust my gut. We were supposed to go out again. And that night, I just had this thing. I think I had told Angie or one of my friends, like, I just don't feel right going out with him again. So I sent him a text. And the text was very nice. I just said, you know what? I don't feel like we're supposed to go out again. And so I'm going to trust my gut in this. I'm so sorry. And I was really nice about it. Yeah. He sent me I'll let you read it after. He sent me the longest, most narcissistic text back of...
Like he was angry?
Oh, yeah. The first word was, wow, exclamation point.
And I don't even need to read it.
And you know what? I knew at that moment that I was right.
Yep. How somebody responds when you either set a boundary or just say, you know what, it isn't a match. will tell you a lot about that person.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. Because I'm like, okay, I didn't make a mistake. All right, we're good.
Because a healthy response to that would
Yeah.
be, totally respect that. Thank you for letting me know. Appreciate the time we've spent together.
Right, exactly.
Like that's what a mature man would do.
Say,
a healthy, mature man.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Yes.
So the next thing I want to talk about is dating guys as they're going through a divorce.
Yes.
So I fell hard for a guy I think we met on Hinge. And we dated for like 3 months, but he was still going through a divorce. There was drama. Like every time his ex-wife wanted to come to pick something up, I had to leave because he didn't want her to see. And it just, for me, it was like, I didn't want to feel like the other woman. So I said, you know what, let's take a 6-month break and see what happens, because I feel like you need to probably have some therapy maybe. He had been with her for 25 years.
Wow.
So how long should you wait, after a divorce to date again?
I always tell my clients, you don't want to date anybody who's separated. And I mean, if somebody's been separated for 4 years, why have they not gotten a divorce yet? Or somebody who has been divorced less than a year. Because when you've been in a marriage and you're getting out of it, there is this phase of exploring. You should be doing work on yourself. But a lot of people jump back into dating, and you don't want to be one of those people because. And I've seen it so many times where my clients are like, no, he just wants to date me, or she just wants to date me. And that's what they think at the time.
Right.
But they just got out of a long-term relationship. At a certain point, they're going to be like, oh, this is too much, too fast.
Too much.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So when do you have that conversation about being exclusive? And who should be the one to ask about it?
I don't think there's any hard and fast rule here.
Okay.
But if I always tell my clients, if you're feeling out of alignment, like if you've been on several dates or you've been dating a while and you have that feeling in your gut, like this doesn't feel good anymore, then you should have the conversation. Ideally, I think the guy should bring it up. Like I think that's the ideal situation. But I also think it's okay for a woman to bring it up and say, what are we doing here? Like, I need for us to have a conversation about how we're feeling about what we're doing here.
Okay.
And how soon. I don't think, every relationship is different, but you shouldn't be 3 months in and not having that conversation.
Ooh. So you think maybe by the 5th or 6th date?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to, again, like, it depends, because some people take longer to connect and open up, but you should say from the very beginning that communication and consistency are important to you.
Okay.
And again, like when I talk about the qualifiers of a healthy partner, you have to make sure you're a healthy partner. So if you avoid conflict, if you avoid these difficult conversations, then you need to lean into that vulnerability.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be, let's define the relationship. Like, you could even say, like, this is awkward for me, but I want to try to do things differently. So can we talk about, like, how we're each feeling?
Okay.
About,
So being open.
Yeah.
Like not being I feel like sometimes women don't want to scare men away, so they're afraid of those hard conversations. Yes. I know sometimes I feel that way. If I really like someone, I just kind of put up with it for several dates before I even say anything. Yeah. Because I'm a little bit afraid. But I'm not anymore. Like, I feel like when I first got on the apps, I was that way. Yeah. But I feel like I'm very straightforward now because I don't want to waste anyone's time. No. So I need to know, because when I got off the apps, as soon as I got off the apps, I had a couple ex-boyfriends reach out to me. How do you feel about ex-boyfriends?
They're exes for a reason. I mean, unless you dated them a long time ago and there was no like bad behavior, no ill will, but like, who are these
Okay, so I'll give you one. He was here last week. They met him. He flew in. Okay. His name is Billy. We dated in college. Okay. He's the nicest guy. Comes from a great family. My parents loved him. His parents loved him. Nothing ever really went wrong. I just wasn't fully attracted to him. Yeah. So he came back into my life. We went on a few dates while he was here on the weekend. He's always very respectful and great. The only issue is that he's not pursuing me. Like he's texted me a few times since he left, but there's no, and we even talked before he left and said, like, what is this? Like, is this something we want to explore? And we both agreed we wanted to explore it.
He texted you that?
We talked in person.
Oh, okay.
While he was here. Okay. And we both agreed that we wanted to explore. Yeah. But he's not calling me. He's not pursuing it. So do I just move on?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so a lot of the clients I work with, particularly women, like women are socialized to do the work, right? In relationships, the emotional work, to be the one to bring up the issues, to caretake. And so what I teach my female clients is like, I don't want you lifting a finger. Because if somebody is interested in you in heterosexual relationships, that's a man, he will happily put in that effort.
Okay.
And if he doesn't, like a relationship continues the way it begins. So if you're the one,
say that again.
A relationship continues the way it begins.
Wow.
Yeah. And so many women just make a relationship happen, you know, and then they don't get their needs met and they're disappointed and they're frustrated. So it's a different way to think about it. A lot of women need to learn how to receive and to sit back and let the other person do the work.
Absolutely. So what do you think about all of the dating shows? Because I'm obsessed. The Bachelor, Bachelor in Paradise, Love is Blind. There's so many of them. Do you think they work?
No.
You don't. But what about the couples that get married?
I mean, so like Bachelor in Paradise, I'm watching that right now. Like
I am too.
Yeah. I'm addicted to all of them.
There's so much going on that show, right? It's Andy's wife, Felicia. She and I are constantly texting. What'd you think about the episode? You know, it's such a good show.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And I mean, like a very small percentage of couples come out of these shows, right? Yeah. But the reason I love them is because you see the dynamics all play out in just a very fast amount of time. But it's human nature. Yeah. It's like what people do. They jump in. They mistake chemistry for compatibility.
Ooh.
I mean, most people like jump in when there's chemistry. They burn it out. Yeah. You know, it's like that spark that burns out. Yeah. As opposed to like the slow burn of like developing that deep friendship over time. Because relationships are not always going to be, you know, like this exciting, intense, you know, and you need to make sure you're with a good, solid, healthy person.
Okay.
And if you're not a good, solid, healthy person, then you're not going to
attract that person.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the work that I do is helping people understand where their areas of growth are, right? Because, I mean, listen, I came into this work, I'm a psychologist, but I also went through my whole journey. Like, I used to be a complete and total mess. And so I'm living proof that you can completely transform, you know, who you are, how you approach people, how you show up in relationships. Right. And that's what I want people to do.
Okay. How soon is it to have sex with someone?
Usually, that's a pacing thing, right? It's usually going to burn itself out because once you have sex with someone, the relationship becomes about that because then there's even more chemicals and hormones. You're done asking questions. It's just like, I just want to keep having sex. It's fun. So I always say, like, build some emotional intimacy. Nobody does that.
Nobody.
And a lot of people have sex because it's awkward to build that emotional intimacy.
So they just go in for the sex.
Yeah. And like I put this on Instagram a few weeks ago, like sex does not turn it into a relationship.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah. So if you're somebody that had, like anyone who's listening, if you're somebody who has sex right away or like say always on date 2 or date 3, why don't you wait till date 6 or 7? Okay. Like give yourself some more time.
I hope my girlfriends are listening. I have a couple girlfriends that like to sleep with the guy on the first date. I'm just saying, don't do it anymore.
No. How is that working for them?
How's that work? They're still single.
Yeah.
The particular person I'm thinking of is still single. Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite all-time topics, Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love me. So anyone that knows me knows that I love me some Jennifer.
Kind of got the Jennifer Lopez vibe going.
Thank you. Yeah. I love her. So, you know, why not? Her, you know, she's been married 3 or 4 times. She's gone from relationship to relationship to relationship. And obviously that's not working for her because none of them have, you know, they don't stick for very long. Yeah. So if I was J-Lo and I'm sitting on the couch with you right now and you can say anything to her about relationships, what would that be?
It's funny you asked that because I went on Access Hollywood to tell J-Lo after she broke up with A-Rod.
Yes.
Like, take a year off from dating. Take a year off. And then I think it was 2 weeks later, she was with Ben.
Yeah. Right.
So she didn't listen to me. So I would tell her.
So I'm J-Lo right now.
Okay.
Talk to me, doctor.
So I would ask J-Lo, like, why are you so scared to be alone for a while? Like, a relationship is not going to save you, solve your problems, make you more legitimate. And you keep, I mean, we'll see what happens with Ben. But this is a pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
And what has she done to disrupt the pattern?
Right.
Nothing.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
And also, has there been any therapy in between to talk about this hasn't worked, and so let's figure out why? Like, here's something I did, and this is for you, J-Lo. This is my advice to you, just because this is what I did. When I got divorced, I was married 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I got divorced, and instead of going into a relationship right away, I went into therapy to figure out why. Mm-hmm. Why didn't it work? Obviously, in the beginning, it was me blaming him for everything, right? He's a narcissist, he's this, he's this. But then my therapist is like, let's talk about you. This is about you, not about him. Right? So I was like, what? What do you mean? What?
Yeah, this is less fun.
Oh my gosh, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I went in and I learned so much about myself. I actually tattooed this date, and I say I met myself for the first time on May 31st, 2016.
Wow.
And I did not like who I met.
Oh.
But you can't get rid of yourself.
Nope.
So I had to figure out, like, what are my issues? Why am I, why are those my triggers? Why do I react that way? And 3.5 years later, I feel like a brand new woman.
Yeah.
I'm ready, and it totally changed my life. But I feel like what I did was I took my luggage full of all the junk and the traumas and all the stuff, and I unpacked each one. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like I have this empty luggage, and I'm just waiting for the right guy to come along for me to spread my love. And I'm also a romantic. Yeah. I love writing love letters. Like, I love love. I love love. And I feel like sometimes guys are afraid of my depth. Does that make sense?
Are you still choosing emotionally unavailable men? Are you still attracted to that?
I don't stay with guys long if it doesn't feel right to me. Mm-hmm. I will tell you my friend Tim Story, who I've had on the show before. I love him. Mm-hmm. Like, if he could be my husband, I would, and he knows how much I love him. But we're best friends, right? And we want to keep it that way. But he's the kind of guy that if I could find a guy like him who hears me when we talk, he leaves his phone. He never picks up his phone when we go out on dinners. Mm-hmm. We talk the whole time. He looks at me. We laugh.
I saw his interview.
Yes, and just the connection and how warm I feel when I'm with him. I feel safe. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking for. Intelligent man who has, the what do you call it? The emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Maturity. That's a maturity, and that's hard to find. Very.
Once you decide that's all you're available for, that's all you'll get. And that's why my book is called Every Relationship is a Test, because I believe in life, we all get the same lessons over and over again until we learn them. Then we don't get those lessons anymore, and it's the same in love. Wow. So for you, I don't know what your specific lessons are, but I would guess that it has something to do with emotional availability. Yeah. And once you just say, I'm done with that, and you have to demonstrate that. You can't just say it. And
how do you demonstrate? Just by...
So, you'll get tests. I call them growth opportunities in the form of people who come into your life, and there may be a lot of attraction, kind of like this last guy. Mm-hmm. But you have to say no. Like, I'm not willing to sign up for that again. And you have to say no to the wrong people to demonstrate to the universe, God, whatever, that I'm not available for that anymore.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you're giving me, like, Wonder Woman powers right now. I really do.
Yeah.
Because the words that you're giving to me, that I'm receiving, it's like, it's going to be a part of me now. It's in me now. It's a part of me. It's in my mind. It's in my soul. And I'm going to move forward with that, allowing myself to set boundaries and to care enough about myself that I go, no, I'm going to say no to that.
Yeah.
This guy was a good lesson for me because he was so good looking. I'll show you a picture later.
He was a test.
He was a test, girl. Plus, he was Christian. That's really hard to find. He's super intelligent. There was a lot of great parts of him. Mm-hmm. And so I went on 5 dates with him. Normally, I don't even go past 3. But I knew in the 5th date, no.
So he was a big test. So normally what happens when you pass a big test is you start getting a higher level coming in. And that, like my course, Single to Engaged, like I tell you like at the beginning, everybody gets clear on like what are their specific tests and lessons. Yeah. Because, they all fall into different categories.
Right. Okay, let's talk about your course.
Okay.
Because Natasha, who also works in the studio with us, when you said Single to Engaged, we both went, oh, what? Where's this course? How do we take it?
Yes.
So how do we, if there's a woman, single women, I know there's single women watching right now. How do they find your course?
Go to drtarimack.com or my Instagram. It's on my link tree there. So you just sign up there.
Okay. And how long is the course?
It's 12 weeks, so it's 12 modules with homework.
Okay.
So, and it's self-guided, so you can kind of go at your own pace.
Okay.
But I take you through every single, I've been doing this work for 25 years.
Wow.
Right? And like, it's everything you need to know to completely change not only yourself, but how you approach dating.
Right.
And the reason I named it that is because a few years ago, I was coaching, two different clients in the same week. And I said to them, listen, they were both single. I'm like, you could be engaged in a year, but you've got to like do the work. Like you've got to focus and do the work. And then I'm like, oh, that's what I should make a course on that.
I love it. So you think if I take your course, I could be married in a year?
Engaged.
Engaged?
Yeah.
I mean, engaged is good too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Once
Shoot, sign me up. Where do I sign?
Once you become clear on how it works, and again, you're going to have to just filter. And you have to understand how to disrupt your own patterns, whatever they are. If they have to do with like partner choice, pacing, boundaries, self-worth, how you deal with rejection, whatever. So it really helps you know yourself, and you have to shift the internal before anything external changes.
Wow.
Yeah. Most people are just like, I just haven't met the right person.
I'll just wear a pretty dress and I'm good.
Yeah. No.
Does it work that way?
No.
No. Okay. All right. It is a good dress though, right?
Oh yeah.
You want this? I know
love
Dr. Mack is like, I need that dress.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on infidelity? Should someone stay if someone has an affair?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so I actually talked about this once. Only under very specific circumstances.
Which are?
Okay. So one, it's better if the person came clean to you than you finding out. Because if you found out and they didn't tell you, they probably weren't going to tell you. Okay. If the person who cheated fully owns it and takes responsibility, and if they are willing to put in the work to rebuild your trust. And that means not just paying lip service to that, but whatever it is you need, going to couples therapy, asking about it, talking about it. And they don't get mad at you for not getting over it. They don't get defensive about it. All of those are bad signs. Or if they quit therapy after a month.
Right.
On the other hand, like if you're trying to make a relationship work, you have to be committed to doing the work to trust again.
Without trust, there's no love.
No.
So do you think that when a couple is not getting along, do you think they should stay for the kids or shouldn't stay for the kids?
No, I don't think
really
they should stay for the kids. No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a divorced woman. I have 2 children, 2 daughters who are 8 and 10. And I mean, what children need is at least one happy, healthy parent. And a lot of people feel like it's better to stay in this environment, like in this unhappy marriage. But that energy, your kids are around that. They soak up more than you think. They see more than you think.
Right. And you're showing them that that's the kind of relationship that they're then maybe going to be looking for, right?
Yeah, you're modeling.
You're modeling
exactly like what relationships are.
Let me give you a different perspective.
Yeah.
Because I got divorced and, my therapist said, don't stay for the kids. And so I was like, all right. So I left. But I'll tell you, because one of my daughters, she suffered a lot when we got divorced. She did not like having 2 houses.
Yeah.
She didn't like living out of a luggage. I mean, she went through a deep depression. I mean, to the point where I'll just be honest, we had to put her in a treatment center for 90 days.
Yeah.
It was that hard. And I said to her, like, what is your biggest struggle? And she said, your divorce. And I said, what part of it? And she said, living in 2 homes, Mom. I don't like it. And it's still that way. She's 17 now. And I said, would you have rather us, hearing us yell and not getting along in one house, or being separate in 2 houses and 2 peaceful people? And she said, I would have rather you guys been in one house. I don't care about the screaming. I don't like being in 2 houses.
Yeah.
So what is your thought on that? This is my daughter just told me this recently.
Yeah, I mean, her feelings are valid. That may have been what was best for her, but I don't know if it would have been best for you, and how like her relationship with you might be different than it is now. You may not have been as available to her. So But I mean, divorce is hard on kids.
It's tough.
You know, like my daughters and I talk about it. Like
Yeah.
it is hard on the
It
kids.
is hard.
Yeah.
I know. Let's talk about your books.
Yeah.
Are they available on Amazon?
They are.
Tell us about your books.
Yes. So the first one is, we mentioned it, Every Relationship is a Test.
I love that. Why that title?
Because just like I said, you know, we all have very specific lessons I believe we came here to learn. And they keep showing up. But until we're awake, we don't see them. And so we just keep, the thing is, like, as a psychologist, I know humans, we just keep doing the same thing because it's all we know.
Right.
And when we start to understand what our lessons are in love and dating, our eyes are open. We know that we have to break the cycle. We have to respond differently. It's not always just the other person, right? Like, we're a part of this dynamic. Two people build a relationship dynamic. So that's how I came up with the title. And each chapter is really about, like, helping people identify where they struggle or where they need to grow.
I love that. Is it available on Audible?
No, not yet.
So just, but available on Amazon.
Yes.
So make sure you guys check that out. And then your second book.
So this one is actually Insta Truths. It was like some of my favorite Instagram posts with the captions. And I mean, people just love, they're just inspirational. Most of them apply to like dating and love. Some apply to like self-growth. But you can just kind of flip through it, or you can read one every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your background? Like, why did you choose to be a love coach? Because obviously you could have chosen anything.
Yeah.
You chose this. Why?
Yes. Well, it chose me.
Oh, I love that. That's what April, our other...
Oh, April Byer?
April Byer.
Oh, yeah, I love
She said
her.
the same thing. It chose me.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting that you said the same thing, right?
Wow.
Didn't she say that?
Yeah, I believe that's how it
Wow.
happens. I mean, my story, I'm very grateful for it, but it wasn't easy. Like, I grew up in a small town in Iowa. And, you know, like, my parents were young. They got married in high school. My mom had me when she was 20.
Wow.
And so it took me a lot of failed relationships and a lot of years searching for love through other people. And really what I needed was self-love. So through my own struggles, and, you know, during half of that time, I'm a psychologist. I'm a therapist.
Right.
And I, you know, at a certain point, I started to kind of wake up and understand, oh, I think I'm the problem here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it's such a misnomer that people think just because you're a therapist or psychologist that somehow you have no issues.
Yeah. No, God. I mean, we're human, right?
Right.
So I've just done a lot of field work in this area.
Yeah.
And I really just want to, I write and I speak because I want to give people the wisdom that I wish I had in my 20s and 30s. I mean, I needed to go through all this to gain the wisdom, but, you know, I don't want people struggling. And I really believe that what we yearn for is meant for us. So if we yearn for love, it means we're supposed to have it. And I just want to help people understand how to get out of their own way, what needs to be different. Because it's really not just about meeting the right person. You're going to do the same thing with that person and the next person, or you're going to keep choosing the same type of person. Yeah.
What do you think about women that, like, I feel sometimes like men are afraid of me because I am I'm a businesswoman. Like, I love working. I have this show. I have my kids. I have a lot going on. I'm always busy. I have a couple shows I'm pitching right now to networks. And I think sometimes when guys know, like, all the stuff I have going on, they get like, oh, well, she wouldn't want to go out with me because she's got all her stuff going on. But I'm so simple. Like, all that stuff is just work to me.
Yeah, but you don't even need to be simple because you don't want to be with an insecure man. You know?
Yeah.
No, like, you want to be with a healthy, secure leader of a man.
Is that the kind of man you see me with? Like, if you were a matchmaker, are you a matchmaker on the site? Okay.
No.
If you were a matchmaker, what kind of man do you think I would do well with?
I think you need someone who is, you know, just like secure within himself and supportive and nurturing. And he'll let you do your thing. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to take care of him. You don't need to, you know, do all this work. Like, you just support each other. You're partners. You're friends.
Right.
Yeah. So, no. I mean, the only kind of men that, so this whole thing, people feel like, oh, I'm a powerful woman. You know, I chase men away. Well, you only chase insecure men away. But also, if you're a powerful woman, like a lot of powerful women that I work with, don't know how to be vulnerable. And I don't think that's you.
It's not
but
me.
That's the flip side. It's like, is it really that men are intimidated by you, or is it maybe that you need to lean into more like vulnerability and receiving?
So do you think that you should ever change or adjust with dating? You know, like if let's say I'm sitting with a guy and I tend to lead. I'm a leader. I tend to lead. But I have to be conscious of let him lead. You know, let him open the door. Let him, I don't know, like should I do that? Should I adjust a little bit?
I think that's probably part of your work in general, like in this lifetime.
Okay.
I do, like receiving. Sit back a little bit, maybe don't lead as much. Let him get to know you. Because I have a sense, I mean, you're an interviewer, right?
Yeah,
you ask the questions,
right.
And a lot of women do that. They show up to date, they start working. And men loved, I mean, we all love to talk about ourselves.
Right.
But you don't want a man to choose you because you make him feel special. You want a man to choose you because he knows who you are.
Wow.
I don't know you. You haven't taken my love assessment or anything, but my guess would be you're an overfunctioner.
Yes, very much so.
And so if you're an overfunctioner, you really need to switch roles, get in the passenger seat as opposed to the driver's seat. And that way you're going to have a man who is a leader take over sometimes.
Okay.
Because I'm sure you get exhausted.
I do. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Dating's so much work. Okay, so as we kind of wind down a little bit, do you think I should get back on the apps?
Are you excited about getting back on the apps?
That's a good question.
I'll take that as a no.
Well, you know what? I feel like getting off the apps has made me get out and go meet people out. I feel like when I was in the apps, I was a little bit lazy, and I'm like, oh, just meet guys on the app. I'm laying in bed while I watch Love Island or whatever, and Bachelor in Paradise, and I'm like, oh, he's cute. Oh, yeah, no, yeah. And when I got off the apps, I've been going out more, and I like that. And even if I get like one of our favorite places, I'll say it again, Voltaire, I love it. And I'll go and I'll just sit somewhere and I'll meet somebody. I'll be like, this is so nice. Just face to face is so nice.
Yeah. So you're feeling pulled toward that. So I would keep doing that. It's like we know what is good for us. We know what we want in any moment. We just got to like pay attention. So there may be a time when you feel excited to go on the apps. And I would say, look at your profile because you don't want to attract every man. You want to attract a very specific type of man.
Well, I will tell you, I'll answer your question now because as you were talking, it came to me. I think because of everything I just learned with you today on the couch, I'm a little bit excited to test it out. The new way.
Yeah.
Fixing my profile, which I might call you. I might send you my profile and then you tell me if it's okay. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. This has been so much fun.
So much
I
fun.
feel like I want to just keep going.
I know.
Let me ask you this though, because I always like to give my guests the like final word, last words. Is there anything that we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you that you think is important to tell the single men and women that are watching right now?
What do I choose? A few things. One, a relationship will not save you. So many people, they're so unhappy and they think when I find that relationship, I'll have everything. No. And if you're expecting a relationship to keep you full, you're gonna always be dependent on someone else to feed you. So you have to really look at why you don't want to enter dating with desperation, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. And also, you know, if you're not comfortable being single, just look at that.
There's something there.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you if you want a relationship, you should have it. It's meant for you, but if you're coming in with that desperation, that's probably a block.
So I do this with all my guests. I have this incredible little book of inspirational one-liners, and I feel like every time I have flipped the pages and they've stopped, it's always been the right one. So you ready for this? All right, here we go. You tell me when to stop.
Stop.
A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step.
Yeah, so I talked about my journey. That wasn't easy, so.
And you know what? With dating too, I feel like it's just one step at a time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, and take it slow.
Take it slow.
Enjoy it. Like soak it in, enjoy it. Don't rush anything.
Yeah, just take it slow. Why are we always in a hurry?
I don't know. Fear runs everything.
Fear of being alone. So tell us about your course again.
Yeah, so it's called Single to Engaged. You can go to
Love
my
that.
website, Dr. Tari Mack. My Instagram is Dr. Tari Mack. Yeah, it's 12 weeks. I mean, it's intense. It's life-changing. So it's only for people who are really ready to look at themselves and are ready to do something different.
All right, so if you want to take that course with me, I'm going to take it. Natasha might take it. Some of my single girlfriends. We should all do it together, and just maybe have a 5-way wedding at the end.
I'm coming.
You're coming, of course. No, but thank you. This has been so fun for me because I feel like I've learned so much that now I got to go, okay, what did Dr. Mack say? I think that's what it's going to be. You know how it's what would Jesus do?
Yes.
I'm going to get a bracelet. What would Dr. Mack do?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For flying all the way here to be with us. And it's been such an honor. And I will keep you in the loop on the guys. And if you don't mind, I might ask you some questions if I feel lost in the date or something. Yeah.
I will point you in the right direction.
Thank you. And thank you all for being with us. I hope this has been helpful to all you single people. And don't forget, take the course. Go to drtarimack.com, correct? Take the course because, listen, single to engaged, hello? Who doesn't want that? So make sure you check that out. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Sally Colón, the #1. On TikTok, I'm Cool Mom Sally. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're almost at 1,000. We're almost there. And I will see you next time on Welcome to My Clubhouse. Bye-bye.